Before the Fight, brought to you by the iconic ProCam Studios. A big weekend of fights, lots to talk about and lots coming up. Let's get started. As always, my co-host, Shotgun Shannon O'Connell. How are you?
I'm good.
Excited
to talk about the week's fights.
And a little bit sore too from just a monster training session you did on the weekend.
Yeah, let's just stay still.
We will talk about that. Jharal Yow, you're back from a training tour, mate. How are you?
Yeah, it's been a while. I caught 8 flights in that month, so it's good to be back here and filming this show today. On
today's show, we're going to be wrapping the fights that happened on the weekend at Punchbowl. Obviously, Ebanie Bridges' world title attempt on the weekend and the Tasman Fight nights. And we're looking forward to the Canberra Fight Show, April 23rd, the Wollongong Fight Show, April 21. And we also have Iron Sharpens Iron, brought to you by the Boxing Shop. The first part of Cruising with the Queen with Jharal Yow Yeh. We had to break that into 2 parts because it was so good. And also the first half of the George Kambosos interview. The first fight night that we want to talk about from the weekend is the fight night down in Punchbowl. Now, a couple of good fights there. Gallen Vs versus Jack Asses for the super featherweight WBA regional title. Now, Gallen 25-3, third round knockout against Jack Asses, but still not a bad fight to have.
Yeah, no, Jack Asses come out pretty strong. I thought it would be over pretty quickly, but he threw some big shots, and Gallen was actually on the back foot at the start, but once he found his range, he finished the fight for a good body shot.
Look, a fairly keep active kind of a fight for Gallen. Obviously, there's fights coming up in the future that we're looking towards with Francis Stewart, Liam Wilson, but there are levels to it, and Gallen showed that with a quick third round stoppage. Now, another interesting fight was S2Ep11 versus Hunter Ioane, a hunter we saw in Canberra fighting against Jacob NG, which was a close fight, but that was for the vacant super lightweight title. Now, before we get into the fight, we did the go live with Hunter Ioane the night before the weigh-in. He was drinking water. He was in great spirits. I said to him, "Are you on weight?" He said that he was. The next morning, apparently 700 grams over, and didn't attempt to try and lose the weight, thus relinquishing his chance to fight for the title. So, with S2Ep11 winning that title at the 63.5 kilograms.
I watched the whole fight. I've known Hunter for a long time from Melbourne. He always starts his fights strong. He's one of those guys that he'll spar anyone. It doesn't matter how heavy you are, he'll spar you, and he hits pretty hard. So he did drop Yowie in the first round, but as the fight went on, Yowie just found the game plan, stayed in close, made a bit of a scrappy fight, and Hunter had no answers to what Yowie done, but Hunter has always just tried his heart out.
Yeah, look, I'm not sure about the whole weight cut. If he was drinking water the night before the weigh-in, then he definitely had fluid to get out. To me, I personally think if someone doesn't want to put that effort in to get that weight, and to, especially for a title, did they get beat before they even got in the ring? He's obviously got a lot of natural power because, you know, he's got two knockdowns in his last 2 fights, but possibly with the right trainer and you know, like, he could be something. Is he going to get there?
But a great talent and a great fight. S2Ep11 doing enough to get the win on the night and getting the Australian super featherweight title. Out of that Punchbowl fight night, some great titles there and some interesting fights coming up for both those boys.
We moved to Ebanie Bridges and Shannon Courtenay for their WBA world title fight on the weekend. There was a lot of talk before the fight. I mean, both girls put up a great fight. Personally, I think that it showed that both girls need experience before they're fighting for such a big fight, because yes, it was a great fight, but it was a brawl and there was not a lot of skill shown. But yeah, it was a good fight, good on them. I think with all the talk that happened, they both needed to get in there and give their all, and they did.
I heard some big raps on that Shannon Courtenay before the fight, and many were saying, "Oh, she's going to destroy Ebanie and she's going to like stop her, whatever." So it was a good effort by Ebanie for going the rounds. Watching a couple of the rounds and the highlights, I saw that she kind of got caught up in Ebanie's fight. Ebanie was just walking forward and just throwing shots, and Shannon wasn't really using her ring craft. Got caught up in the brawl, and it went to decision.
That speaks of volumes, I suppose, about their experience, Shannon, yeah. The fact that Shannon Courtenay and falling into that kind of brawling style without, like Joel said, using her ring IQ and boxing out and making it a bit of a cleaner and smarter fight.
Yeah, absolutely. I believe, like, watching some of Shannon Courtenay's highlights and things before this fight, I watched her and I was like, she actually reminds me of me 5 years ago. Where, like, you throw punches at me, I'm going to stand there and I'm going to throw them back. But, you know, as you get experience, you sort of realise that there's an easier way.
Now, what's going to happen with Ebanie from here? It's, we wait and see, and who gets maybe a possible shot at Courtenay for that title. We know that Rachel Ball still isn't 100% recovered from her illness. So there's some very interesting developments in that women's title. On this week's Iron Sharpens Iron, brought to us by Gareth Williams and the Boxing Shop, he takes us through the importance of weight transfer from the cross to the hook.
This is Iron Sharpens Iron, and I'm Gareth Williams. In today's episode, we're going to talk about weight transferal between the power hand to the hook. I like to get my fighters to drop their weight 60% on the back foot, 40% on the front foot. When you do this, you can transfer your body weight. When you go forwards and throw the power hand, you drive off your back leg and rotate your back heel, which sends your body weight forward. You don't let your shoulder get in front of your knee, because that's when you'll get off balance. But from there, you can swing back, adjust your front foot, and rotate and gain power in your left hook as well. It's important to remember, the most important thing is driving the hip forward when you throw your power hand and extending your back leg, but transferring your weight over the front knee. From there, we adjust, we swing backwards and drive the front knee, turn the front heel and the front hip. So the basic mechanics of throwing the power hand. Weight transfer starts on the back leg. We'll adjust forward, lift our back heel, back knee and back hip and back shoulder will all rotate forward. So from the power hand, we pull everything back and we drop our weight on the back leg, lift our front heel and turn and rotate our knee, our hip and our shoulder coming through. This is how the reason we transfer weight is to get maximum power, but also balance power. Yes, you can get power by falling over and throwing looping shots, but generally, you're not going to be able to back it up with anything, or you're going to get caught on the way in. The best power is to transfer the body weight and be balanced while you're doing it. Because of the power these combination can generate, whether it's a left hook, straight power hand, or in reverse, the straight power hand left hook, generates a lot of power. So if our technique's right, we can deliver it perfectly, boom, and accurately.
From there, we move to the Tasman Fight Night, big fight night. Now, some quick mentions. Dana Coolwell boxing really well against his opponent, getting a good stoppage there early. First minute, we spoke to him. He looked sharp. Like to get a little bit more out of that. Ethan Law looked good against his opponent. That was great. Sam Goodman as well. But from there, we start moving into the televised fights where there was, a couple of interesting decisions and some cracking fights. I think we should start notably with the light heavyweight title, contested there from Connor Wallace and Letty Letty. How did you see the fight going?
Look, before the fight, I thought it was going to be quite an easy win for Connor. Obviously, it wasn't. Letty was very underestimated. I mean, I think the last time I saw him, he was a welterweight. So we sort of thought, Connor's going to be too big for him. And
he came up two weight divisions for this fight.
Yeah, he was strong and he had a good game plan and Connor just fell into it.
I was just surprised how strong he was. It looked like every single time he hit Connor to the body or hit Connor, I kind of felt it. I was really impressed. When Connor boxed from the outside, he looked great, but he just couldn't keep Letty on the outside no more, and Letty just was taking his shots much better than Connor was taking his shots.
But look, still plenty of fights there for Connor Wallace and for both Letty and the light heavyweight division. Regan Desau's thinking about making a comeback at the end of the year. We're yet to see what's going to happen with Blake Caparello. Will Farris have another fight before he goes over to England? So a lot of stuff happening there in the light heavyweight division, but well done to Letty for getting the Australian title.
Yeah, from there we go to a pretty interesting fight between Ben Kite and Andrew Hunt. There was a lot of views on that fight and who was going to win, and it was a 10-round war, which Andrew Hunt obviously got the better of.
They were for Benny's Australian and Australasian title at welterweight, 66 kilos. Everybody said Benny was going to be in trouble for the first 4 rounds and then he'd take it from there. Andrew Hunt, I think, did unreal in proving to everyone that he can go 10 rounds hard, because there was times in the later rounds that he came stronger. And I don't think that Benny was sluggish, but because when you're fighting someone as sharp as Andrew, they make you look a bit sluggish, and I think that's what happened.
Coming into the fight, there was questions that were going to be raised. It was how dangerous Andrew Hunt will be in the first 4 to 6 rounds. Will he have the gas tank to move on? And obviously, the thought was that Ben Kite had enough experience, enough mongrel, and a big enough gas tank to take him into the deep waters. These questions were very, very clearly answered by Andrew Hunt. If there was to be a rematch, I think that there'll be a marginal difference now, because I think this kind of fight and the lessons and the takeaways for Andrew and the team are only going to make him so much better. There was a lot of hype around this kid, and now you can see why. He's answered so many questions. I think he's going to really light up the welterweight division.
Yeah, absolutely. If you can test your gas tank against anyone in Australian boxing, if you can get past Benny, then you've got it.
But yeah, great things there for Andrew Hunt. Congratulations on winning both the Australasian and the Australian welterweight titles there against Ben Kite. The fight that everyone's been talking about, Ben Marnie, Chris George, the comment sections have lit up across the platforms. Before we start talking about the comment sections and everything like that, let's start breaking down the fight. The first 4 rounds, Shannon, what do you think?
Out of the first 4 rounds, probably the first 5 rounds, I would have only given Chris one round. I thought 1, maybe 2, but the last 5 rounds, I would have given him 4 though. And then with the 10-8 round, I thought that he won the fight by 1 point.
Joel?
Yeah, very close fight. When Benny was boxing, he was, controlling the fight. But exactly as Shannon said, as the fight went on and Chris kept the pressure on, he just started breaking Benny down a bit and finished very strong with the knockdown. I do agree as well. Maybe a win by about 1 point to say. Even 6-4 plus the knockdown.
I understand that Ben Marnie did throw more punches and was landing, and the judges saw it that way and gave it to him. But with the 10-8 knockdown in round 7, it made for a very, very tight contest.
Yeah, absolutely. And probably one of the best things that I saw in that fight was how much Chris George was enjoying it.
Loved it.
He absolutely loved every second of it. It was awesome.
Yeah, he so 3 years off almost in a 9-week training camp. I think he went there with nothing to lose.
After that fight and how much fun that he had, there is a chance that he could be fighting again. So exciting times there. But a lot, and credit going for Ben Marnie. I think he'll learn a lot from this fight. It was a tough fight. It was something where they're going to go back to the drawing board as well and try and reevaluate the situation. But the judges saw it that way. They get paid to judge the fight. And the comment section and the fans, they just get to watch it. So the professionals that are judging it, they do see the fight a little bit different to us. Now, the big boys. First round, very similar to Tim Tszyu versus Bowen Morgan. Justice Hooney got rid of Jack Maris very quickly, very convincingly. Justice, being the sensation that he is, getting the Australian title against Django in his opening pro debut, they are struggling to find heavyweights to try and match up against him. They brought Jack Maris up from Newcastle, and Justice put him away in explosive fashion.
So a lot of people, obviously including Jack Maris, thought that it was premature stoppage. And, if you look at the replay, a lot of those punches didn't really land flush, but it was only a matter of it might have got pulled up 5 seconds early. Because Justice wasn't going to stop until it was over.
Delaying the inevitable is what I said to Pete, Jack Maris's trainer. I said, mate, it was going to happen regardless. Let's keep Jack safe and let's move on from there. And when he heard that, he was happy with that comment. Joel?
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's levels to boxing. Justice is a great fighter, one of the best, or probably the most talented fighter in Australia right now. So I think it was great that he got stopped in the first round. Credit to Jack Maris for jumping there against Justice Hooney, but there was a massive level difference in that ring on that night.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of people spoke about, we hope Justice carries him a couple of rounds just for the fans. No.
You and I spoke about that beforehand.
That's exactly the same as Tim Tszyu did to Bowen Morgan, exactly what he should have done.
Great night by Tasman Fighters, Gold Coast Convention Centre. It looked great. The crowd was amazing, especially coming out of a few hiccups with lockdowns and such. It was a great night of boxing and some really amazing fights. Plenty there for us to talk about. While Joel was away on his sparring tour helping out Tim Tszyu and moving around down south, we had Cruising with the Queen, our first carpool where you got to take out Jharal Yow Yeh. How was that?
Yeah, it was fun. It was nerve-wracking a little bit, but then he sort of took over and started interviewing me, and I had to switch it because it was about him, not me. So it was good.
Look, Jharal Yow Yeh, former Bronco, former Queensland and Australian winger, a great personality and a great profile. We thank him for being on the show, and this is how it went.
Hi guys, I'm Shotgun Shannon O'Connell, and this is Cruising with the Queen. We're on.
Set, we're good to go.
Where's your training bag? I thought we were sparring.
No.
We're not sparring?
Hell no.
Oh. What are we doing then?
I'm not much of a fighter.
So I go for the Broncos, but like, is that embarrassing at the moment or?
Not really. How long have you been going for the Broncos for though?
Well, now you're going to have some shit to put on me. I'm an Adelaide girl.
That's okay.
So I'm an AFL girl.
So who do you follow in AFL?
The Crows.
Okay.
So that's probably not okay because no one that likes NRL likes AFL.
Well, no, I'm not saying that we don't like it. Both the games evolve and, you know, people in elite sport get better. I think you appreciate each other's sport. Like, there's no way I could do what AFL, when I played footy, there's no way I could do that. What do you reckon the biggest injuries in your sport are?
I don't know, but people get shoulders, hands, everything. I've got them all. Like, everything hurts, but not enough to stop me.
Yeah. And how old are you?
How old do you think I am?
It's not a question I'm willing to answer.
38.
Okay. Very fit for 38 still.
Yeah.
You'd like to think so?
Yeah, I'm fitter than I've ever been, I think.
Do you feel like boxing, you get better with age?
I do. I don't think everyone does.
I feel like when I watch a lot of boxers and when I continuously watch, you know, title fights, I feel like they're all older. Is that because it's a longer road to get there?
I don't know. I started late. I started when I was 20, so... And I started because I was partying all the time and I needed a different way to live.
Okay. I think that's how we all start sports, really.
Yeah.
You find in boxing, because I find there's similarities then with boxing and rugby league, because there's a lot of kids who don't have a lot in rugby league who were brought up really tough, really with not a lot of things. Like my mum's a single mother. Me and my brother don't have a father either, so you know, straight, and we're Indigenous kids. So from the start, we're sort of from behind the eight ball as well. So, but I think it makes you better, right? I think it makes you hungrier.
Oh yeah, for sure. And like I think to be at the top level of anything, whether it's sport or life, you've got to be almost obsessive. And that's what got me there. Like,
well, you're 38 and you're still doing it. So.
Everything that I do, it's like there's a different reason rather than just doing it.
Yeah.
Like, I've got to do that because I like, or I've got to do it again because I didn't do it quick enough. Or
do you know when you're going to retire yet? Do you feel like?
No, I've actually retired because I've got a 2-year-old baby.
Yeah.
And I retired when I was pregnant with him, and then like.
You got hungry again?
Yeah. Straight after he was born, I was like, I actually feel pretty good. Like, I'm fit. Like, I can do this. And then I was like, how cool would it be to win another world title when I've got a baby? So I had a...
So when did you have, how long ago now?
He's 2.
Wow.
So 2019, I had a cesarean and fought 12 weeks later, just because everyone said I couldn't do it.
So where to next for you now? Like what's your goals? Where do you want to go from here?
I thought I was meant to be interviewing you.
Yeah, I know, but I like to do this. I like to do this as well.
Well, I'm hoping to get another big world title. Like last weekend I won a world title, but it's just a version of a world title.
Okay.
Yeah, mine's the WBA gold world title, whereas there's just a plain WBA world title where 2 girls are about to fight for it. So I hope to fight the winner.
Okay.
Personally think both of them are a fairly easy fight. I guess I've gotten smarter. Like, I was in training and moving my head and slipping punches, going, oh shit, that was quick, that was close. And then in the fight, I was like, actually, I was thinking I was fluking it, and then in the fight, I was like, actually, this is a thing. I moved my head now. And it took 18 years.
Isn't it a beautiful thing when you get so good at your craft that you just go, well...
It just happens.
Yeah, sometimes you don't even know how you're doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
So that was Cruising with the Queen. What a great little segment that was while Joel was away. The second half we will be showing on next week's episode. I guess now we start looking towards Wollongong, April 21. Some great fights there to talk about. Spark Brubaker for the welterweight title. Brubaker at number 1. Shannon, your thoughts?
I think Steve wins. I think that Steve is the younger, hungrier fighter that wants to build up and yeah, I've got 100% confidence that Steve Sparks wins that fight.
The thing is going to be a massive build-up, but there's Steve Spark, who's just all business. There's Jack Brubaker, who's Mr. Entertainment. He loves the spotlight, loves to kind of build a fight up, where Steve Spark just wants to go in there and knock someone out. And nothing against Brubaker, but I do think that Spark will spark him out on the night.
So yeah, keep an eye out for that fight. It's going to be a great one. Now, a fight that has been building and is a very, very exciting fight. Liam Wilson and Francis Chua. After Francis Chua beating Kazim over in Western Australia and getting the WBA regional title, he now moves to Wollongong, where he fights Liam Wilson, who got knockout of the year last year from the ANBF. Shannon, how do you see this fight?
Oh, look, to be honest, I'm not sure. I think it's an awesome step up for Liam. I don't believe we've seen the best of Liam. So, yeah, I think it's a great fight.
I lean towards Liam. I think his boxing ability and IQ in the ring is going to be the difference in the ring. Francis Chua is one of those guys who just walk you down, stay on your chest, and you stay on you. But I think Wilson's got power in both hands. He's had that many amateur fights. He's done well in the pros, and I do think he might actually stop Chua in later rounds.
Wilson 8-0, Chua 8-1. One thing that Liam Wilson has been saying to us in previous interviews that he wants the opportunity to box. He said that sitting on the couch here at the beginning of the year, that he's had the availability to be able to bang an opponent out and just get away with just pure overwhelming power. He wants the opportunity to be able to showcase his skills. I think he'll get that opportunity in Wollongong, April 21 against Francis Chua. I think this is an absolutely cracking fight and one everyone has to watch. Now, the G train, the hype train. Paul Gallen, Lucas Big Daddy Brown. This has been all over social media. It's been back and forth. Ben Damon had them in the main event studios, face to face, having a go at each other. Social media seems to be where most of the fireworks is happening. When you get them together, they actually both admit that they like each other and that this is just really a fight and they're trying to sell the fight and get the most out of it. Then they get back to social media and you think that they absolutely hate each other. But this, by Paul Gallen's own admission, is his biggest test. He thought that he had enough skill to beat a 55-year-old Mark Hunt that hadn't boxed before and had been a bit active. But he does say, and openly says from the get-go, he doesn't think he's got the power to stop Lucas Brown, whereas Lucas Brown does have the power to stop Paul Gallen. How do you see this fight going between the big boys, Shannon?
Look, I think it's obviously another big step up for Gallen. I think that you take the footy player away from Gallen now. He is a boxer. Personally, I'd like to see him win.
Ooh, Joel.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a better fight than most people think. Paul Gallen's tough as nails. He's going to try staying close and try to break Lucas down. But I hope for Gallen's sake that Lucas doesn't land a big right hand, because I think it'll be all over if Lucas lands a shot. So it's an interesting fight.
We saw that testing power when Mark Hunt did land cleanly against Paul Gallen. He was rocked on 2 occasions. And Lucas Brown definitely having that power in his right hand to be able to do that. You can't question the fact that Paul Gallen is extremely fit, conditioned. His gas tank is enormous. And, you know, he can wear you down, lean on you, be heavy. And, you know, with the sparring footage, we haven't seen any sparring footage at all from Gallen, but we have seen a bit of sparring footage from Lucas Brown. That is the footage that has been released. So obviously it's not exactly what's going on in the ring there. But, you know, Lucas may be taking it a little bit easy. It's hard to say, but this is definitely going to be an interesting fight.
Coming from a fighter's perspective, you don't want to, like if Gallen wins this fight, Lucas's career is over. You don't want to have your career ended by an ex-NRL star, so I'm pretty sure Lucas Brown's going to come in there trying to take Gallen's head off, whereas Gallen's coming in there like, got nothing to lose. I'm fighting a former world champ. I'm going to go in there and just do my best, so that makes it a dangerous fight for Lucas.
This fight's only scheduled for 6 rounds, so you know, I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of leaning. And I mean, to be honest, I don't know if everyone's seen the size difference, but Paul Gallen don't want to lean on him. Like if anyone's doing the leaning, it's going to be Lucas Brown.
It's going to be Lucas. There is an enormous size difference in height and reach.
Lucas Brown is a monster.
Yeah, I'd rather be leaning on Lucas than being on the outside of him, because honestly, to be honest, because the longer range he's got, the harder he's going to punch. Gallen's been on the NRL field, ran into big dudes who are like twice his size. So I think it's actually a better idea for Gallen to stay inside and try to just grind in close and just try to break him down, because if he's on the outside, he cops the right hand, I think it's all over.
So Wollongong, April 21. With everything going on between George Kambosos and Teofimo Lopez, George now starting his camp over in Miami. This is what George had to say with bringing us up to speed on that fight. The ferocious one. Mate, welcome to an interview with Before the Fight. Thank you. We know you're busy. IBF, WBC, WBO, WBA, Ring Magazine. That all sounds pretty good.
It does sound very good, and I'm looking forward to it, because You know, you dream of fighting for a world title, but to get the opportunity to fight for every single belt, man, that's a hell of an opportunity. And you best believe I'm fully prepared to win every single belt.
I think at his age, he didn't expect to get these belts so quickly. And I think a touch of that Hollywood might be getting in there and he might be getting distracted. Now, we see that all too often in UFC, don't we? They're hungry, they fight, they get the belts, then they're eating whatever they want, they're sleeping in, they're partying, and then they're getting chopped up by young, hungry fighters. Do you think that's where the chink in the armor is with him for sure?
Yeah, I believe that's one of the chinks. There's many chinks I see in Lopez. The way he fights, I see a lot of chinks in his armor, but the way things have gone for him, like I said, things happen too fast for him. You know, too much fame, too many belts, too much money came too soon. And obviously, I've got a lot of good people in America, and I'm hearing a lot of things from their camp. And the way he's been acting, the way he's been enjoying himself, you know, that's all going to be his downfall. I've been in the gym, man. I've been preparing nonstop. Straight after the Selby fight, like I said, I went and trained. I went and put in work because I'm hungry. 28 years. I'm going on to 28 years of age now, and I'm really coming into my prime right now. I feel this is the perfect time, and you know, I love being the underdog. I love it when people down me. So the more they down me, the more hungry I even get. Not that I need to be any more hungry than I am for this fight, but man, it's good. Everything is good. Everything's on track, and you know, his issues, his problems. That's his problems. You know, he's put on a lot of size too. So. You know, people kept saying, "Oh, he's pretty big, man. He's pretty big." I go, "Good, get him. Let him get bigger." Because at the end of the day, 61.2 kilos is the weight limit, and if he can't make that weight, then he's going to lose all them beautiful belts on the scales, and he'll lose them anyway when we fight.
Mate, 100. What I want to know is, you got Mick Ackaway in your corner. He's holding pads for you. How happy is he? How happy is he with you at the moment with this stage of camp?
Oh, man, we are way ahead of schedule. Mick is doing a fantastic job. You know, he's putting me through my paces, working on a lot of good game plans. You know, Mick's style is very suited to what I need to do in this fight. And he's done a fantastic job here in Sydney. Obviously, my next step now is to get back to Miami this Monday. So I'll be in Miami for 10 weeks and start preparing with my lead trainer, Javier Centeno, who brings a lot of speed, a lot of movement, a lot of great game plans as well into my artillery. And for this fight, but I will have Mick coming over as well. So Mick and my Australian manager, father, George Kambosos, will be meeting the whole team in Miami, obviously with Javier Centeno as lead, Mike Basil as cut man, and my strength conditioning trainers over there, as well as the best manager in the world, Peter Khan, who's my manager. He's making a lot of headlines, especially today.
In camp, where are you hitting personal best? What's feeling really good at the moment? Apart from everything, what have you noticed is really going well? Your ring IQ, sitting in the pocket, punching power, speed?
Look, everything is going fantastic and hitting above what we expected at this stage of camp. My strength conditioning, the way my strength has risen and the stronger I'm getting. One, I put it down to the hard work I put in, and with my strength conditioning performance coach, Mirwani, who we set a goal for 2 solid months to put on as much solid muscle as possible and to keep my speed and make my speed even faster with obviously the added strength and power. And we've done it. We've done that. We are at a perfect position. I'm bigger than ever. I'm stronger than ever. I'm more explosive than ever, faster than ever. And I'll tell you, like I've been saying, a lot more violent than ever because I know what's at hand for this fight. I've got a fantastic team, from the strength trainers to the boxing coaches to the managers, to everything, man. To the whole lot is pin perfect, and we really leave no stone unturned. And you've seen that in our past victories, especially our last 2 big victories against Mickey Bay and Lee Selby in their backyards. This is nothing new for me to go into another champion's backyard. I actually enjoy it. I believe I thrive on it.
And let's be honest, you're the biggest man in boxing in Australia at the moment. That's all there is to it.
The real boxing fans know who is the king. You know what? I won't even say king. I'm the emperor of Australian boxing. You know, I was a king back in 2016 in Australian boxing. Now, I'm only 27, going on to 28, but I'm a young OG in this sport because I've been around for so long. You know, I made my pro debut at 18 years of age after 100 amateur fights. And look, a king sits in one country and dominates. I didn't want to be just a king. I want to be an emperor, where I went over to many countries and dominated, and that's what I've done. I've surpassed Australian boxing, and the real experts, the real people that know boxing here know who is the top dog, the pound for pound number one. And look, it's a damn shame that the mainstream media is not getting behind me. I don't know why they're not getting behind me. This fight, if it was anybody else, they'd be all over it. Maybe because it hasn't been officially announced with a date, even though it's looking at June 5th in Miami.
So the second half of that interview with George Kambosos on next week's episode. But wow, a lot going on there between him and Teofimo Lopez. From there, we move to Canberra, Capital Fight Show, April 23rd. Nort Beauchamp and Brock Jarvis being the headline fight there. But a couple of great fights. Arsene Fosso, Django in the heavyweight division. This is going to be a great fight. We spoke to Django on the weekend at Tasman Fighters. Again, if we're talking height differences, but Django always having a taller opponent, the big Us. But this is going to be a cracking fight. There are going to be some big hits. Shannon, your thoughts?
Oh, look, I think it's a great fight. It's a fight that from when they both fought justice, it was a fight that was spoken about. So I think it's a great fight. I definitely think it's a fight that Django needs to win.
I think it's going to be a war. Arsene Fosso's big puncher. Django likes to take punches and can take punches and can throw big punches back. So even though Fosso has the amateur background, I think that Django is actually the better boxer. Fosso is a big puncher, so it's going to be a great fight.
Django with a record of 14-2, Arsene with 3-1 with his loss to both respective losses to Justice. Django, fast hands, good head movement, always been the shorter guy. A lot of pro experience there. What we're going to see from this fight is going to be an interesting development, and I agree it's going to be an absolute barn burner.
Another one of the exciting fights on that card is Hardman. Isaac Hardman versus Mark Lucas is that's going to be a good one. That's for the Australian title. So yeah, I think that's going to be another step up for Hardman to see what he's really made of.
A great fight, yeah, very exciting. Good to see Isaac getting a fight. He's fighting out of Queensland. He's fighting in Canberra against Mark Lucas. Mark Lucas sending him a message on social media saying, mate, I want to come back. I've had a bit of time off and I only want to fight the best, and it's for the Australian middleweight title. Obviously, we know what Isaac Hardman brings to the table. What we're going to see out of Mark Lucas is going to be interesting. He's been on his podcast saying that he is training and that he is ready for this fight. I think it's going to be an absolute barn burner. Isaac always very exciting, and I think this one is, it's going to get over and done with very quickly.
I think it should be a good fight. I've got a different view on it. I don't think it'll be over very quickly. Mark Lucas fought and campaigned at super middleweight, coming down to middle. Isaac Hardman a big middleweight as well. So I think Mark Lucas the better boxer. Hardman, they're saying, has a big punch and can got the punching power. So I think it's actually a real good fight. I want to see how Hardman deals with someone his size and someone who's boxed and had a pretty good amateur pedigree as well, Mark Lucas.
The fight everyone's talking about, Brock Jarvis, Nort Beauchamp. This is the IBF Pan-Pacific title and the WBA Global title at featherweight, 57 kilograms. Brock Jarvis, 18-0. Nort, 18-3. Nort's very confident. He's coming across. He's fought some big names. Brock showing him a lot of respect. Jeff Fenech showing him a lot of respect. What does that tell you, Shannon?
I believe that it's not going to be an overly hard fight for Brock. I think that, yes, they're going to show respect. They want to build the fight up, but I think they'd be very confident, and I would be too if I was Brock and his team.
Ooh, very clear statement there from the Queen. Joel?
I think Nort Beauchamp's a good boxer from the outside, but Brock doesn't allow that. Brock's bigger, taller, he's going to put the pressure on. He's a great inside fighter, and I think that if I had to choose one, I'd be going by Brock by stoppage.
Brock obviously reflecting the Marrickville Mauler in his trainer Jeff Fenech. When he gets on your chest, he's absolutely destructive and relentless. We saw that in Canberra against Mark Schliebs. Nort, again, going to be shorter than Brock, and Brock really knows how to lean, and not just lean to create weight and to drag you down. He's very active. He finds a small gap when and from there he can produce punches in close that are almost mid-range punches, and that's where a lot of that power comes in, and that's where he starts to tee off. I think it's going to be against the ropes as well. I think he's going to walk him down, and look, exciting fight, expecting big things from both Brock and Nort.
Yeah, look, Nort's training out of City Kickboxing. He's got Israel Adesanya, the style bender, training there. So, they've got some really good fighters out of that gym. So who knows what Nort's going to bring.
IBF Pan Pacific, WBO Global. Some great straps there. It's only going to help the ranking for Brock Jarvis and keep him moving in the right direction. He's got that division pretty much sewn up at the moment, and rightly so. So there we have it, another great episode of Before the Fight. Some great fights over the weekends, team.
Absolutely.
Amazing.
Yep, and a lot to look forward to. So stay tuned, keep watching, check us all out. There's going to be a lot of go lives on our Instagram page this week. Check out our YouTube channel and follow us on Facebook. I'm Rob Scheif, and you're watching Before the Fight.